Through this minor production, we will be displaying for you how farmers and fishermen lived during colonial times in the United States. Farmers and fishermen were both vitally important to the economy and the general population. Both populations of people made food for people to eat in the colonies and food for people in Europe.
There were many farmers in the colonies because there was a lot of open land. In Europe, people who farmed land for a living were generally of the poor population. These European farmers farmed land for other people. The farmers were not owners of the land. This all changed in the colonies. Farmers made a good amount of money and mostly farmed the land that they owned. However, farmers did not have much of a desire to live lavishly, but instead they wanted to have enough money to satisfy themselves and their families. Almost everything necessary for life could be a product of the farm because people could trade food for anything.
An advantage of being a farmer was that most farmers owned 50 to 100 acres of land. Also, every farmer was white in this time period. A white male who owned at least 50 to 100 acres of land was eligible to vote. Voting is a lot different nowadays. Now you just need to be 18 and a citizen of the United States to vote. During colonial times, about 50 to 75% of the time, the population voted.
Colonial farmers farmed a variety of different crops, all of which are still farmed today. Farmers would farm tobacco, corn, wheat, cotton, and many more. In Virginia, the tobacco crop was literally the essential to surviving in that state. This shows how important farming was in the colonies. Farmers also owned a variety of animals. They owned horse, oxen, pigs, cows, poultry, and others. Horses were the main method of transportation back in the day. Oxen were still used to pull plows in the field. Pigs and cows were still used for the meat, which most people still enjoy to this day. Finally, poultry feathers were used to make pillows. I imagine Tempur-Pedic pillows are far more comfortable than those poultry feather pillows.
On to the second part of this presentation. Fishing became a critical part of the Massachusetts economy during this colonial time period. A lot of money was made by people in Massachusetts by selling and shipping fish overseas to the Caribbean and Europe. At one point during this time period, there were over 20 ports in Massachusetts, and fish was 35% of everything exported from Massachusetts. These 20 ports were full of a combined 550 to 650 ships.
Fresh salted cod was and still is delicious. Salted cod could have been found stacked high in every port in Massachusetts. Cod and many other types of fish were used for two main things. The first was that they could be eaten by people in the States. The second was that they could be shipped off to Europe or the Caribbean for people there to enjoy.
There are many different types of fish that were fished in colonial Massachusetts. Saltwater fish included cod, striped bass, blue tuna, tautog, mackerel, and fluke. Freshwater fish included brown brook trout and rainbow trout. Fishing was a tough and dangerous job. Many people passed away while trying to make their living fishing in colonial Massachusetts. Fish were primarily caught using nets.
When it comes down to fishing and farming were both very challenging occupations that demanded great knowledge and skill. The people of the colonies needed farmers and fishermen so they could have food to put on their tables. The colonial economy would not have been the same without both these fantastic occupations.